For years, the night sky has been more than just a view of stars and planets. It has been a place of wonder, inspiring scientists, astronomers, and dreamers to search for answers beyond Earth. Most of the time, what we see are familiar patterns. Constellations, planets moving in their paths, or galaxies shining from far away. But sometimes something unusual appears, something that challenges what we know and pushes us to ask deeper questions. One such moment arrived when people using Google Sky came across something extraordinary. It wasn't just another star, comet, or simple error on the screen. What they saw looked massive, glowing, and structured. Far too precise to be dismissed as a trick of light. It had an otherworldly presence, a shape that stood out against the quiet backdrop of space. This sighting captured attention quickly. To both amateur stargazers and experienced observers, the mystery of the object was undeniable. It hinted at the possibility that the universe still holds secrets we are not prepared for, secrets hidden in plain view above our heads. And yet, as soon as the discovery spread, events took a darker turn. What should have been a celebration of discovery became a story wrapped in silence, censorship, and growing suspicion. Strange object on Google Sky. When the strange object first appeared on Google Sky, it immediately stood out. Unlike the many dots of light representing stars in the background, this anomaly was different. It looked structured, almost solid, with two great arcs of light flaring outward from either side. It wasn't random or blurred like a glitch. Instead, it had form and depth, as if it were truly present in the vastness of space. Amateur astronomers quickly noticed the difference. They pointed out its unique color and its size, far larger than a star and far too defined to be ignored. Discussions erupted online, with observers sharing screenshots and theories. Many agreed it had the weight of a planet, perhaps even something larger. The arcs of light gave the impression of movement, maybe plasma streaming in its wake, or even brilliant rings glowing around it. To those who studied the image closely, it didn't resemble anything ordinary in known charts. It was not a familiar star, not a listed planet, and not a simple reflection. For viewers, the mystery deepened with every detail. Why was such a massive body visible, yet undocumented? How could something so distinct appear in the same skies where every object is carefully catalogued? These questions pushed the discovery from a curiosity to a possible breakthrough. Or perhaps, the beginning of something authorities would rather keep hidden. Light arcs around the body. One of the most striking features of the mysterious object was the pair of glowing arcs stretching out from its sides. They were not faint streaks like camera errors often produce, but bold, radiant curves that seemed to belong to the object itself. Observers described them as luminous wings of light, bending outward into the darkness. These arcs made the body appear alive with energy, something far more dynamic than a static star. Speculation quickly spread about their origin. Some believed the arcs could be trails of plasma or dust, evidence that the object was moving through space rather than sitting still. Others suggested they might be massive rings, similar to Saturn's, but far brighter and more pronounced. The glowing curves gave the impression of motion, as though the object was slicing through the void and leaving traces of brilliance behind. For astronomers, this detail made the anomaly even harder to dismiss. Ordinary stars do not show such defined arcs, nor do they appear with such balanced symmetry. The flares of light hinted at immense forces at work, forces beyond ordinary explanations. Whatever the true nature of the arcs, they became the centerpiece of the mystery, fueling countless debates, and raising the possibility that humanity had glimpsed something truly extraordinary. Sudden Google Sky shut down not long after the strange image began spreading among astronomy groups. Something unusual happened. Google Sky suddenly went offline. For a platform that allowed people worldwide to explore the heavens, such a shutdown was rare and unexpected. The timing raised immediate suspicion. Why would the service go down right after a massive, glowing object was noticed and shared? To many observers, the shutdown did not feel like coincidence but a deliberate move to remove the anomaly from public view. When Google Sky eventually returned, the section of space where the object had once been visible was no longer the same. Instead of the glowing body with arcs of light, there was now only a solid black rectangle covering the precise location. This act of censoring the sky shocked many. If the object was nothing more than an error or an ordinary star, why would it need to be hidden behind a digital patch? The shutdown and blackout became the core of the controversy. Astronomers argued that open access to space data is vital, and censorship of any kind only fuels mistrust. By covering the image, officials or institutions seemed to confirm that the discovery was real and potentially too important to be freely viewed. What could have been just another scientific discussion turned into a global mystery, wrapped in secrecy and doubt. Black patch censors the sky. When Google Sky finally came back online, users rushed to check the coordinates where the glowing object had been found. What they saw shocked them. The entire section of space was covered with a perfect black rectangle. It wasn't a blur, it wasn't a glitch. It was a deliberate digital block placed exactly where the anomaly had once shown. To those who had saved the original screenshots, the difference was undeniable. A planet-sized body with radiant arcs had been replaced by a blank patch of nothingness. This act of censorship became the loudest piece of evidence fueling suspicion. If the object was simply an error, there would be no reason to cover it. Stars, galaxies, and even camera artifacts are always cataloged and explained. But in this case, the decision to erase the view only deepened the mystery. To many, it was proof that the image showed something real, something significant enough to hide from public eyes. The black patch turned into a symbol, not just of what was missing, but of secrecy in astronomy itself. Enthusiasts began asking hard questions. Who has the authority to decide what parts of the sky we can see? What else might be hidden from open access? Instead of silencing the discussion, the blackout only gave more strength to theories of cover-ups and secret knowledge. The mystery of the object grew larger than the object itself. Too big to be a star, what made the anomaly so compelling was its sheer size. Those who analyzed the original image pointed out that it did not resemble a star at all. Stars, even when magnified, appear as bright points of light, often fuzzy at the edges. But this object had form, depth, and coloration that gave it the presence of a massive body. It seemed to carry weight in the sky, far larger than anything nearby. Some estimated that it could be as big as a planet, perhaps even bigger. Its color patterns added to the mystery. While stars often burn with white, blue, or red tones, this anomaly carried an orange glow at its core, surrounded by radiant flares. Combined with the arcs of light stretching from its sides, it looked nothing like the stars that filled the rest of the frame. Its structure was too defined, too stable, to be dismissed as a passing trick of the lens. For many, this size and clarity were proof enough. If the anomaly had been a common star, it would have appeared on existing charts and records. Instead, its uniqueness and massive scale made it stand out as something unclassified. This was not just another dot in the universe. It was a body that demanded explanation. Its enormity left astronomers and enthusiasts convinced they were looking at something rare, perhaps even hidden from the public eye. Could it be a planet? As the debates grew, one theory gained the most attention, the possibility that the glowing object was not a star at all, but a planet. Its size, structure, and coloration seemed to support this idea. Unlike stars, which shine from within through nuclear fusion, this body looked solid, with depth and surface-like features. Observers noted that it didn't twinkle or scatter light the way stars do. Instead, it reflected a steady, heavy glow, as if it were a planetary surface, catching and bending light. Some speculated it could be a rogue planet, drifting freely through space without a parent star. Astronomers know such worlds exist, though finding one is extremely rare. If this object truly was a rogue planet, its proximity would make it one of the most important discoveries in recent history. Others suggested it might belong to our own solar neighborhood, possibly an undiscovered large body moving silently beyond Pluto. A celestial object of that scale moving so close could carry unknown effects on our solar system. Its gravity, trajectory, and origin would all raise new questions. Yet instead of answers, people were met with silence and censorship. The theories of motion and rings, the arcs of light streaming from the object, inspired endless speculation. To some, they looked like signs of motion, trails of plasma or dust pushed outward as the body traveled through space. Would make this body unlike any planet we currently know. The symmetry of the arcs gave more weight to these theories. They didn't appear random or chaotic, but structured, extending evenly from both sides of the object. Whether they were evidence of high-speed travel or the hallmark of colossal rings, the sight fueled more fascination. For many, these arcs were proof that the anomaly was no glitch. They were physical features pointing to something massive, real, and extraordinary. Shape different from stars, what set the anomaly apart most clearly was its shape. Stars, even through advanced lenses, appear as glowing points with no real structure. But this object had a defined outline, a body that looked solid and consistent against the night sky. It was not scattered light nor a fuzzy cluster. Instead, it had form. A round mass with clear edges and the glowing arcs stretching out in perfect symmetry. This alone made it stand out from everything around it. Observers compared it to the stars nearby on Google Sky and noted the difference immediately. The stars flickered naturally, their brightness shifting as expected. The anomaly, however, did not behave this way. Its glow was steady, heavy, and strangely alive, as if it belonged to something much closer and far larger. For those who studied the image carefully, its shape carried the weight of a planetary body rather than a distant sun. The consistency of the object's structure raised pressing questions. If it were a star, it should have matched the patterns seen in catalogs. But nothing in official records aligned with it. Its defined shape gave it credibility as a real celestial body, not an illusion or glitch. To many astronomers, professional and amateur alike, this was the strongest evidence yet that the object was something extraordinary and perhaps deliberately hidden. Why was it hidden? The most haunting question surrounding the anomaly was simple: why hide it? In astronomy, discoveries are almost always celebrated, shared, and catalogued with pride. From small asteroids to distant galaxies, transparency is the norm. Yet in this case, the opposite happened. Instead of open discussion, the object was covered, and the data was pulled from public view. This sudden secrecy raised alarms among enthusiasts who believed the blackout was no accident. If the anomaly had been a glitch, why not explain it? If it was a star, why not catalog it? The silence only strengthened suspicion. Many argued that the cover-up was more telling than the object itself. By censoring the sky, authorities seemed to confirm the discovery had importance, perhaps even danger. Some feared it could be a body moving closer to Earth. Others thought it might be linked to classified research or evidence of something humanity was not meant to know yet. For the public, this lack of answers turned curiosity into mistrust. The mystery was no longer just about what the object was, but about who decided it should remain unseen. In trying to erase the anomaly, the act of hiding it gave it far greater power, fueling global debates, conspiracies, and the belief that some truths about the universe are being kept from us. Fear of a cover-up. The blackout of the object quickly fueled fears that a deliberate cover-up was taking place. Amateur astronomers who had captured screenshots began sharing them widely, determined to preserve proof of what they had seen before it was erased. To many, this act of censorship confirmed the object's reality. After all, if it was meaningless, why would anyone go to such lengths to hide it? The idea that powerful institutions might be suppressing knowledge of something so extraordinary spread rapidly across forums and discussion groups. For some, the fear wasn't just about the object itself, but about what it represented. If such a massive body could appear and then vanish behind a digital patch, what else might be hidden from public view? The silence from official channels created an information vacuum, one quickly filled by theories of secret discoveries, government involvement, and warnings that the truth was too dangerous to be revealed. This fear was amplified by history itself. People recalled other cases where unusual sightings had been dismissed or buried only for fragments of evidence to survive. The possibility that humanity was once again being denied answers left many uneasy. Instead of calming doubts, the blackout became a symbol of secrecy, a reminder that even in the digital age, the sky above us might not always be fully open to our eyes. Rogue planet possibility among the many theories, one of the most striking was the idea that the anomaly could be a rogue planet. Unlike planets bound to stars, rogue planets drift freely through space, untethered and silent. Astronomers know such worlds exist, though spotting them is extremely rare. The thought that one might be close enough to appear clearly on Google Sky sent waves of excitement and fear across the community. If true, it would be one of the greatest discoveries of our time. A rogue planet of such size would carry enormous implications. Its gravity alone could influence nearby systems, and if it passed close to our solar system, it might even disturb orbits of known planets. Some speculated this could explain ancient myths of wandering stars or fiery bodies crossing the heavens. To others, its presence meant Earth could one day face unknown risks. Supporters of this theory pointed to the object's steady glow and structured shape as evidence. Unlike stars, it didn't burn from within, but seemed to reflect or emit light differently. The glowing arcs could be trails of material shed as it moved. The idea of a wandering planet, hidden until now and suddenly revealed, gave the discovery an air of cosmic drama. Whether dangerous or not, the possibility not yet be ready to answer. Brown dwarf theory. Another theory suggested that the mysterious object might not be a planet at all, but a brown dwarf. Brown dwarfs are often called failed stars. Too large to be planets, yet not massive enough to ignite and shine like true stars. They exist in a strange middle ground, radiating faint heat and light, but often hidden from normal telescopes. To many enthusiasts, this explanation seemed possible because the object's glow did not match that of ordinary stars. Its orange hue, paired with the arcs of light, hinted at energy and activity without the brilliance of nuclear fusion. If it were a brown dwarf, the implications would be enormous. Some have long speculated about an unseen stellar companion to our Sun, occasionally referred to as Nemesis. The idea of a hidden brown dwarf moving quietly within our solar neighborhood has fascinated scientists and conspiracy theorists alike. Discovering such an object so close would mean rewriting parts of our understanding of local space. Supporters of this theory argued that the object's mass and coloration fit the profile. A brown dwarf's rings or magnetic activity could even explain the sweeping arcs seen in the image. Yet, just like the rogue planet idea, this raised unsettling possibilities. Was this a companion star we had overlooked? And if so, why would it be censored instead of studied openly? The brown dwarf theory only deepened the mystery, blending science with secrecy. Silence from authorities. Perhaps the most unsettling part of the entire event was the silence that followed. Normally, when unusual astronomical data appears, scientists, universities, or space agencies release statements to clarify or explain the phenomenon. But in this case, no official explanation came. The blackout was never addressed, and the anomaly was never mentioned in public records. This silence spoke louder than words, leaving observers to wonder if the truth was being deliberately withheld. For amateur astronomers, this lack of response was deeply frustrating. Many had saved the original images and were eager for a professional review. Yet days turned to weeks with no acknowledgement. The object was treated as if it had never existed at all. This void of information allowed speculation to flourish. Some argued that authorities feared public panic if the object was revealed as a massive rogue planet or a hidden stellar body. Others believed it was tied to classified research, perhaps something beyond ordinary astronomy. The refusal to comment gave the impression of secrecy rather than science. Instead of answers, the public was left with mystery and mistrust. Silence, rather than calming fears, only fueled them. To many, it became clear that the question was no longer just what the object was, but why no one in authority was willing to talk about it. Public holds the image despite the blackout. The mystery did not disappear. Amateur astronomers and curious sky watchers who had saved the original screenshots made sure the image continued to circulate online. Forums, blogs, and social media became flooded with copies, each one showing the glowing body with its arcs of light. In many ways, this act of sharing was a rebellion against the silence. If officials would not acknowledge the discovery, then the public would preserve it on their own. The image became a symbol of resistance to censorship. People felt empowered, knowing they held proof of something that had been hidden. Some users even compared it to historic cases where knowledge was suppressed, only for fragments of truth to survive through determined individuals. Each repost, each discussion, kept the anomaly alive in the digital world. This persistence created a growing divide. On one side were those who trusted the official silence and dismissed the anomaly as nothing important. On the other were thousands who believed the shared image was undeniable evidence of something extraordinary. By keeping the image alive, the public ensured that the discovery could not be erased completely. Instead of vanishing, the mystery grew stronger, carried forward by ordinary people unwilling to let the truth be forgotten. Ancient myths recalled, as the strange image spread, many began connecting it with stories from the past. The glowing arcs and fiery orange core reminded some of ancient myths describing blazing objects crossing the heavens. Tales of wandering stars, fiery gods, and omens in the sky have existed for centuries, passed down in texts and folklore across cultures. For believers, the resemblance was uncanny, as if this modern discovery was a living echo of legends once dismissed as fantasy. In ancient civilizations, celestial events often carried deep meaning. A bright object in the sky could be seen as a sign of change, danger, or divine presence. The mysterious body on Google Sky, with its radiant wings of light, seemed to fit those same descriptions. Some argued that humanity had seen this kind of object before, but without the tools to understand it, our ancestors wrapped it in stories of gods and cosmic battles. This blending of science and myth gave the discovery even more weight. Was the anomaly just a natural object, or something tied to cycles of history that our ancestors witnessed long ago? The comparison stirred fascination and unease, making the object not just a scientific mystery but a cultural one. Whether truth or coincidence, the link to ancient myths kept the mystery alive in a way that facts alone never could. Global speculation grows. The blackout of the object did not end curiosity, it ignited it. Soon, the mystery spread far beyond small astronomy groups and into worldwide discussions. Forums, blogs, news sites, and social media platforms filled with debates. Some argued for scientific explanations, suggesting the anomaly was a rare celestial body like a rogue planet or brown dwarf. Others believed it was proof of something far more significant, perhaps even advanced technology or a hidden presence in space. Speculation took on a life of its own. Videos analyzing the image appeared online, reaching millions of viewers. People compared the anomaly to known planets, to cosmic events, even to sightings reported throughout history. Each theory seemed to spark 10 more, building a storm of possibilities that no one could fully answer. Instead of calming the debate, the lack of official comment only fueled it further. The silence became part of the story, convincing many that the object was too important to discuss openly. To some, it was a warning sign of danger. To others, a hidden treasure of knowledge. Either way, the discovery had moved from a single observation to a global phenomenon. What had begun as a strange image on Google Sky was now one of the most talked about mysteries of the digital age. Two glows near the moon, not long after the Google Sky blackout. Another strange sighting captured attention, this time much closer to home. An amateur sky watcher reported seeing two glowing objects near the moon. At first glance, they seemed like faint specks, but as he zoomed in with his camera, the glows became clearer, moving slowly across the lunar surface. Unlike stars, they did not flicker. Their movement was deliberate, as though two objects were gliding in formation. The observer described them as soft, radiant lights hovering above the craters and valleys of the moon. For several minutes, the mysterious glows held their position, casting a faint shimmer onto the surface below. Then, just as suddenly as they had appeared, the lights began to drift away, sliding off the edge of the moon and into the vast blackness of space. Their fading left behind a silence that was both awe-inspiring and unsettling. This sighting was not isolated. Others soon reported similar glowing specks near the moon, each case sparking debate. Were these advanced satellites hidden experiments, or something not of this world? The timing, so close to the Google Sky controversy, made many wonder if the two events were connected.